JYC Japan.
Hello guys, I'm Ken, an official driving instructor. Today I'm going to explain how to get a driver's license in Japan. This video will help those who want to get a license in Japan but have no idea about that. In the second half of this video, I'm going to explain the advantages and the disadvantages of each way, and which way is better for your status. Additionally, JYC Driving School provides all types of courses. You can apply for the suitable lessons for you. Make sure to subscribe and hit the good button. Let's get started. There are 3 ways for foreigners to get a driver's license in Japan. Number 1. Convert a foreign driver's license to Japanese license. Number 2. Pass the driving tests at a license center. Number 3. Graduate from a driving school. I'm going to explain about each way in detail. Case 1. Convert a foreign driver's license to Japanese license. Who suits this case? A person who has a valid foreign driver's license. Where to apply? At a license center in a prefecture where you are registered as a resident. Process. Step 1. Book the application. Step 2. Documents check. Step 3. Physical ability test for driving and interview. Step 4. Written test. Step 5. Driving test. Step 6. Issuance of Japanese driver's license. Now, I'm going to explain each step in detail. Step 1. Book the application. How to book the application varies depending on the prefecture. You need to confirm how to book the application at a license center where you are going to take the test. Step 2. Documents check. Gather the necessary documents and submit them to the license center. What kind of documents you need to prepare depends on the country where your foreign license was issued. You need to ask the license center where you are going to take the test. Step 3. Physical ability test for driving and interview. Eye acuity, color vision deficiency, hearing ability, and physical ability required by safe driving will be tested. You need to prepare the glasses or contact lenses if you need to wear them while driving. In addition, you need to be interviewed. Contents of the interview change depending on the time. For example, the examiner will ask you when got your foreign license, how long you drove out of Japan. The interview is conducted in Japanese. If you don't speak Japanese, you need to ask the license center if you are allowed to go with an interpreter. Step 4. Written test. You must pass the written test. The test is true or false 10 questions. You must get at least 7 out of 10 questions. The questions are basic Japanese rules of the road. We have some videos for Gaimen Kiriae written test. Check it out before taking the test. Note: due to amendment to the traffic law in October 2025, the 10 knowledge questions will be changed to 50 questions. The new questions would be similar to the test for the beginners. If you are going to take the written test after October in 2025, watch our KARIMEN prep videos for studying. Step 5. Driving test. Normally, the driving test is scheduled for another day after you pass the written test. You must pass the driving test within 6 months after passing the written test. In case of going over 6 months, you must start again from the beginning. This is the most difficult part of Gaimen Kiriae process. The examiners are the police officers. Driving test requires you a proper driving following the Japanese rules of the road. Most people think that if you have experience of driving out of Japan, you can pass the test easily. But that's wrong. The proper driving required in the test is totally different from the driving you used to do before. Japanese driving test is unique and strict. Even if you have long experience of driving out of Japan, you cannot pass the test without the preparation. We strongly recommend you should take some lessons provided by a professional driving instructor. Those lessons will help you not only to pass the test but also to drive on the Japanese roads safely after getting your license. Step 6. Issuance of Japanese driver's license. If you pass the driving test, you can obtain the driver's license on the same day. For your information, those who have any valid foreign license issued in these countries are exempt from the written test and driving test. Exempt from both the written test and the driving test. Exempt from only the driving test.
Driving Japan.
Case 2. Pass the written tests and driving tests at a license center. Who suits this case? A person who doesn't have a valid foreign driver's license. A person who is trying to obtain a driver's license for the first time. A person who had a Japanese driver's license, but it expired. Where to take the tests? At a license center in a prefecture where you are registered as a resident. Process. Step 1. Book the KARIMEN written test. Step 2. Submit the documents. Step 3. Physical ability test. Step 4. KARIMEN written test. Step 5. KARIMEN driving test. Step 6. Book the HONMEN written test. Step 7. HONMEN written test. Step 8. HONMEN driving test. Step 9.
取得時講習
7-hour lecture for a person who passed the HONMEN driving test. Step 10. Issuance of a Japanese driver's license. Now I'm going to explain each step in detail. Step 1. Book the KARIMEN written test. How to book the KARIMEN written test varies depending on the prefecture. You need to confirm it at a license center where you are going to take the test. Step 2. Submit the documents. Visit the license center on the day of the booking and submit the necessary documents. Step 3. Physical ability test. Eye acuity, color vision deficiency, hearing ability, and physical ability required by safe driving will be tested. You need to prepare the glasses or contact lenses if you need to wear them while driving. Step 4. KARIMEN written test. There are 50 questions in the KARIMEN written test. You must get at least 45 out of 50 questions. Time limit is 30 minutes. The result is announced on the same day at a license center. If you pass the KARIMEN written test, you can book the KARIMEN driving test. Step 5. KARIMEN driving test. Note: you need to memorize all the routes of the KARIMEN driving test. There are some routes for the driving test, and which route you are going to drive for the test is decided on the day of the test. This is the first difficult part of this process. All the examiners at a license center are the police officer, and the driving test is very strict. The examiner mainly checks your vehicle control skills, safety checks, maneuvering and speed control according to the road conditions. Taking driving lessons before the KARIMEN test is not mandatory, but it's quite difficult to pass the driving test without practice. You'd better take the lessons provided by professional driving instructors. If you pass the KARIMEN driving test, a learner's permit is issued. The learner's permit in Japanese is
仮運転免許証
and most people call it KARIMEN. You will also receive a document for the road practice record together with your learner's permit. You must submit the report when you apply for the final driving test. And the learner's permit is valid for 6 months.
Drive Japan.
Step 6. Book the HONMEN written test. How to book the written test varies depending on the prefecture. You need to confirm it at a license center. Step 7. HONMEN written test. There are 95 questions in the HONMEN test. You must get at least 90 points to pass the test. Time limit is 50 minutes. The result is announced on the same day at a license center. If you pass the HONMEN written test, you can book the HONMEN driving test. Step 8. HONMEN driving test. Note: before taking the HONMEN driving test, you must practice on the public road with your learner's permit. You must fill out the practice record form which is given by the license center. The road practice must be done at least 5 days in the last 3 months before your HONMEN driving test. Each practice must be at least for about 2 hours. You are not allowed to practice alone. A person who is qualified as an instructor must be on the front passenger seat in the car. And the car for the practice must fulfill the designated conditions. This is the second difficult part of this process. Note: you need to memorize all the routes of the HONMEN driving test. There are some routes for the road test. And which route you are going to drive for the test is decided on the day of the test. The HONMEN driving test contains the road test around the license center and reverse skill tests such as a parallel parking. On the test, the examiner will carefully and strictly check your speed control skills, hazard anticipation ability, protecting pedestrians and cyclists, safety checks and so on. The driving test is very strict. You'd better take the road lessons provided by a well-trained, experienced professional driving instructor. It's much better if the instructor has the examiner's license issued by a public safety commission. Step 9.
取得時講習
7-hour lecture for a person who passed the HONMEN driving test. A person who passed HONMEN driving test must take a 7-hour lecture at a driving school approved by a public safety commission. You need to choose the school classified as
指定自動車教習所
This 7-hour lecture is called
取得時講習
in Japanese. Note: this lecture is conducted together with the Japanese students. High-level Japanese language ability is required because the lecture includes a discussion about the traffic rules. In the training, you must take the first aid training, highway lessons, and hazard anticipation. Normally, the training is done in a day. If you complete the training, the certificate is issued. The certificate is needed to get a license at a license center. Some driving schools don't provide this training. And some schools don't accept students who don't speak Japanese. Some schools may require students to attend the lessons with an interpreter. You need to ask the school when applying for the training. You can take the lecture called
特定講習
at a driving school classified as
特定届出教習所
instead of the 7-hour lecture at an approved driving school. If you take the lecture before passing the HONMEN test, the license is issued immediately. Step 10. Issuance of license. You obtain your Japanese driver's license at a license center. Congratulations!
Dive Japan.
Case 3. Graduate from a driving school. Who suits this case? A person who doesn't have a valid foreign driver's license. A person who is trying to obtain a driver's license for the first time. 99% of Japanese people choose this way when they try a driver's license first time. A person who had a Japanese driver's license, but it expired. Where to take the tests? At a driving school approved by a public safety commission. But after graduating from the school, you must take the final written test at a license center in a prefecture where you are registered as a resident. Process. Step 1. Enroll in the approved driving school. Step 2. Driving lessons and lectures for KARIMEN tests. Step 3. KARIMEN driving test. Step 4. KARIMEN written test. Step 5. Driving lessons and lectures for HONMEN driving test. Step 6. HONMEN driving test.
卒検
Step 7. Graduation from driving school. Step 8. HONMEN written test at a license center. Step 9. Issuance of a Japanese driver's license. Now I'm going to explain each step in detail. Step 1. Enroll in the approved driving school. If you don't speak Japanese, enroll in the school providing the English training course. Note: only the graduates of approved driving school are exempt from the 2 driving tests and a written test at a license center. Make sure to check the school is approved by a prefectural public safety commission if you want to choose this case. The schools are called
指定自動車教習所
in Japanese, and this is the emblem of the approved school. If the school you are going to enroll in is not classified as an approved driving school, it's applicable to the case too. Step 2. Driving lessons and lectures for KARIMEN tests. You must take at least 12 driving lessons and 10 knowledge lectures to obtain a learner's permit. You must take the 12 driving lessons in the driving circuit of the driving school. Step 3. KARIMEN driving test. The first driving test is conducted in the circuit of the driving school. The examiners are the instructors of the school. Only the instructors who have the examiner's license are allowed to test the students. You don't have to memorize the test routes because the examiners have to tell the students where to turn. In most cases, examiners tell the routes in Japanese. So, you'd better know the simple Japanese words used in the test. And also, if you are worried about the test, you should memorize the test routes so you can drive smoothly. Step 4. KARIMEN written test. You have to take the KARIMEN written test at the driving school. There are 50 questions in the KARIMEN written test. You must get at least 45 out of 50 questions. Time limit is 30 minutes. You should study a lot with the materials provided by the driving school. The result is announced right after the test at the school. If you pass the KARIMEN written test, you can receive the learner's permit. The learner's permit in Japanese is
仮運転免許証
It's so-called KARIMEN. Note: the validity of the learner's permit is for 6 months from the day you pass the KARIMEN written test. You must pass the final driving test within 6 months from the day you pass the written test. Step 5. Driving lessons and lectures for HONMEN driving test. You must take at least 19 driving lessons and 16 knowledge lectures to graduate from the school. The driving lessons are conducted on the public road. Note: you must complete the steps from 1 to 5 within 9 months. If you go over the time limit, you need to pay an extra fee and start from the very beginning of the course. Step 6. HONMEN driving test.
卒検
This test in Japanese is,
卒業検定
mostly it's called,
卒検
this is the same as HONMEN driving test. The driving test is conducted on the public road around the driving school. The examiners are the instructors of the driving school. You don't have to memorize the test routes because the examiners have to tell the students where to turn. In most cases, examiners tell the routes in Japanese. So, you'd better know the simple Japanese words used in the test. And also, if you are worried about the test, you should memorize the test routes so you can drive smoothly. Note: you must pass the driving test within 3 months from the day you complete all the driving lessons and knowledge lectures. If you go over the time limit, all lessons you took becomes invalid. In case of that, the next step depends on the validity of your learner's permit. You should ask the driving school for advice. Step 7. Graduation from driving school. If you pass the
卒検
you can receive the certificate of graduation issued by the driving school. This certificate is called
卒業証明書
in Japanese. After that, on another day, you have to visit a license center with the certificate and take the final written test. Note: the certificate of graduation is valid just for 1 year. If you don't pass the final written test within 1 year from the day the certificate is issued, everything you did at the driving school becomes invalid. Step 8. HONMEN written test at a license center. You must take the final written test at a license center in a prefecture where you are registered as a resident. This final written test is so called
本面学科試験
in Japanese. There are 95 questions in the HONMEN test. You must get at least 90 points to pass the test. Time limit is 50 minutes. You should study a lot with the materials provided by the driving school. The result is announced on the same day at a license center. Step 9. Issuance of a Japanese driver's license. If you pass the final written test, you can obtain the Japanese license on the same day. Congratulations!
Drive Japan.
Those 3 cases are how to get a driver's license in Japan. I think lots of people don't know whether to choose the case 2 or 3. Now, I'm going to talk to Jenny about the advantages and disadvantages of each case.
Hello. Some of my friends ask me which way is better to get a license. But I'm not familiar with the license system. Every time I don't know how to tell them.
Alright, then, let's start with the advantages and disadvantages of Case 2. Case 2. Taking all the tests at a license center. Advantages and disadvantages. Advantages. There is a possibility you can get a license quickly and at low cost. If you choose this way, you have to take the written test and the driving test. And each test costs about 2,000 yen to 3,000 yen. The other handling charge costs around 3,000 yen. The 7-hour lecture for a person who passed the HONMEN driving test costs about 10,000 yen to 15,000 yen. You are allowed to take the KARIMEN driving test without the lessons. On the other hand, before the HONMEN driving test, you must practice on the road for 5 days. The person who sits in the front passenger seat doesn't have to be a professional instructor. But the person must have a license of the vehicle you are going to practice with more than 3 years, and the license is still valid.
I see. Quickly and at low cost. It sounds good. But you said there's a possibility. Which means it may not be quick and at low cost, right?
That's right. You'll be convinced if you see the disadvantages. Disadvantages. Difficult to pass the driving tests. You must take
取得時講習
or
特定講習
if you take all the tests at a license center, you must study the written tests by yourself. You can take the written tests in English, but you need to study hard to pass. All the driving tests provided by a license center are difficult to pass. The examiners are the active police officer, and they give the tests very strictly. The driving tests are conducted with a point deduction scoring system. As soon as you reach the failing score, the test is over. That's why I strongly recommend that you take our driving lessons before the test. About the
取得時講習
or,
特定講習
most certified driving schools don't provide the English lectures. Most of them accept only those who speak Japanese fluently. You need to confirm if it's possible to join the class with an interpreter.
I see. You should take some lessons before the driving test.
Drive Japan.
Next, I'm going to explain the advantages and disadvantages of Case 3. Advantages. You can learn the necessary skills and knowledge for safe driving. It's easier to pass the driving tests compared to a license center. You will be exempt from the driving tests at a license center. At an approved driving school, professional instructors teach you the Japanese traffic rules and driving skills during a good number of the lessons. In addition, because you must take a lot of driving lessons before the test, it's not very difficult to pass the test. And each driving school has the practice written tests. You can practice the written tests again and again. You can ask the instructor if you have any questions about the traffic rules.
Sounds great. There's a lot of support at the approved driving schools.
Disadvantages. It costs a lot. It takes a long time to complete the training course. The training course fees vary depending on the school. Normally it costs about 300,000 yen to 400,000 yen. The English training course usually costs more. And it takes about 3 to 4 months to complete the course because the students must follow the curriculum stipulated by law.
That's the bottleneck. You can learn a lot at a driving school, but it takes time and costs a lot.
I agree. After understanding the advantages and disadvantages, I'm going to give advice depending on the person.
Drive Japan.
In my case, I got a Japanese driver's license by converting my American driver's license. I took several lessons before my driving test. And I passed and got a license. The problem is I don't understand the Japanese traffic rules properly.
In your case, we recommend the road lessons. Gaimen Kiriae test is conducted only in the license center test circuit. There are no cyclists and pedestrians during the test, and no road test. So even if they pass the driving test at a license center, it's difficult for them to drive on the Japanese public road properly. On the real road, you will encounter lots of difficult situations.
Okay, you should consider that Gaimen Kiriae driving test is not for how to deal with the real traffic.
The basic skills and knowledge of the traffic rules are tested. If you already have a foreign driver's license and experience of driving for more than 3 months, it's considered that you already have enough skills in dealing with real traffic situations. I guess that's why road test is not required for Gaimen Kiriae test.
I understand, but there are lots of people including me struggling on the real road, right?
That's true, unfortunately.
I don't have a foreign driver's license. I've never driven before. Which case do you recommend?
I recommend case 3 if you don't have experience of driving. If you speak Japanese fluently, you should join an approved driving school near your place. But most driving schools require the students to have a native Japanese level. In the driving lessons, you need to understand technical traffic Japanese words, judge and act quickly while the car is in motion. And also, you need to talk to your instructor in Japanese about the traffic rules.
I thought that I can enroll in a school if I know right and left in Japanese.
Instructors are not GPS navigation. During the lessons, pointing out and correcting must be continued to improve your skills and knowledge. It might be difficult to enroll in a driving school if you cannot communicate with the instructor. Because you may put yourself, your instructor and people around you in danger. If you are worried about your Japanese language level, we provide the training course in English at the approved driving school that we have relationship with.
I had a driver's license in my country, but it's expired. I used to drive for over 5 years. But the driving test at a license center seems to be difficult to pass. I want to choose the easy one. So, I'll pick case 3. But I don't need a lot of lessons since I have experience of driving.
If you join the training course at an approved driving school, you must take the specific number of the lessons stipulated by the law to qualify for taking the tests.
It's not fair. I have experience of driving for over 5 years. Why do I have to do the same process as the beginners?
The same rule is applied to Japanese people. If their licenses are expired, they need to start from the beginning in the same way as the beginners.
That's too strict.
I drove for more than 10 years in my country. My license has expired. I used to drive every day for work. I'm confident in driving. And I'm mentally strong. I'm sure I'm not going to get depressed no matter how many times I fail the test.
Great. People like you should try case 2.
I have a valid foreign driver's license. But I don't have a Japanese license.
Then, you should take case 1, Gaimen Kiriae test.
Yes. But I think I should study all Japanese traffic rules, because the traffic rules in my country are different from Japanese rules. Is it possible for me to join an approved driving school to study from scratch?
It's possible, but, in your case, it's better for you to get a Japanese license by converting your foreign license first. And then, practice on the real road in the real traffic situation. That way is more effective and efficient for you. If you join the training course at an approved driving school, you must take at least 12 driving lessons before going to the real road. JYC Driving School provides driving lessons focused on your weak points and what you want. There's no package lesson, so you can finish the training whenever you improve.
I've been taking lessons at a driving school. I thought I would take the driving test at that school. But the staff said I have to take the driving test at a license center. I don't know why.
Okay, I guess the school is not approved by a public safety commissioner. You are in the case 2.
Oh, I didn't know that. I decided to enroll in the school because the lesson fee was cheaper than the other driving schools located around my place. And the school provides many lessons as a package. Also, it has good facilities and training cars. I thought it was an approved driving school.
You enrolled in a normal driving school. It must be the one called,
届出教習所
or the others except the approved driving schools. It's hard to distinguish between those schools. Even Japanese people enroll in the school like that by mistake. If you want to pick case 3, you should enroll in the school called
指定自動車教習所
in Japanese. If you have the certificate of graduation issued by an approved driving school, you are exempt from the driving test at a license center. After the graduation from the school, you can get a Japanese license only pass the written test at a license center. Before you sign up for the school, you have to confirm with the school staff if the school is
指定自動車教習所
and issues the
卒業証明書
if yes, that's the case 3.
Now I understand. Then I'm trying case 2 and have to take all the tests at a license center.
I don't have a driver's license. I have no experience of driving. I'm going to take the driving tests at a license center. How many hours should I practice?
It depends on the person. Some pass the test only 6-hour lesson. Some don't pass over 20-hour lesson. Even if you are a quick learner, it's not easy to pass the Japanese-style driving test. JYC Driving School provides one-time lesson. It's better to add the extra lessons depending on your skill compared to the package plan.
I see. You'll never know until you see my driving skill, right?
That's right. Try to take the lesson once. It might be a good idea to take the test once you gain confidence because there's no specific number of the lessons stipulated by the law. But remember, 2 hours of practice in a day, for 5 days in total is required before the road test.
Dive Japan.
Today, I explained how to get a Japanese driver's license. There are only 3 ways. Consider which one suits you. Thank you for watching this video. How did you get a Japanese license? Which one are you trying? Leave your comments below and subscribe.